What's good?
You can ask me about
special guest in the building today.
There is.
Lose me now, cause I got a buzz hotter than a bad bitch.
Nobody Epic.
You got some applause? Hey, there we go.
Yeah, we got
Thank
it.
you.
We got it. Really out here.
I don't come in without the applause.
What podcast number is this, Moe-T? 44?
45? I hope
Nice.
it's 44. That was my basketball number.
Might even be 46. I can't remember.
It's your only job. So this is one we've been waiting for the end of the year wrap up. As far as we wanted to give you the top albums of the year, as well as just kind of a few things we noticed, maybe things we liked, things
This year in hip hop.
Yeah, the year in hip hop, and focused around our favorite albums. So, I guess we should just get right the fuck into it, huh?
Well, there were some news things we talked about. Did you want to do the news first, or is that going to run too long?
We
or
can
do
do
that at the end.
We can. I mean, I don't really want to deep dive on the news anyway, so we can just talk about it right now.
Yeah.
Let's do it right now.
Yeah, just brief things to cover. Well, one, I feel like you guys have already talked about Kanye West and Drake. I feel like has been covered to a degree, but
yeah, to a degree.
Certain developments over the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, to be completely honest with you,
that makes me feel bad. Really, is what the situation with Kanye. It's kind of sad. Is more how I feel about that.
That's kind of
my take.
I know he tweeted this flurry of tweets and whatever.
Drake's putting a hit out on him.
To be honest, I didn't read all the tweets. I didn't pay that close attention to it. I read some of them. I heard what was going on, and I heard like Drake's threatening my family, and Kim jumps in on it and shit, which I just heard from Gloria, and I'm just like,
don't ever threaten my family.
Yeah, it's like, what are you talking about, bro? I don't know.
I know Drake knows some shady
Some goons.
people. Yeah, some goons. And there does seem to be some trollery from Drake, which I appreciate. The sending him purple devil emojis in a text, which Kanye is still hung up on. I believe he's tweeted about that at least 5 times. I mean, I've never heard someone be so put off by someone sending them emoji faces in a text and then asking for the release on Say You Will, which is clearly a business move from Drake, but also Drake has to know Kanye's not going to do that, clearly, if he already knows he trolls him. So it's just a bunch of goofy stuff. Drake seems to be having a lot more fun with it than Kanye does.
And I guess that's my thing is it's just like, bro, come on. You two are not the, kill each other rappers. So it's going to be left at words.
I think Drake gets shut down on his response to the story of Adidon. So his thought process is, well, let me just mess with Kanye for the rest of the year of our Lord 2018, and then we'll see how we go into 2019. We'll see if I feel better about it.
Yeah, I think Kanye is just being Kanye and overreacting, and I do think he knows that whenever this is where he loses me too. Didn't one of his tweets he said something like, when I dropped my beautiful dark twisted fantasy, I was tweeting a lot, and I'm pretty sure he said something like that. Like I was going on my Twitter or whatever, and so basically trying to draw the parallel to the music he's working on is great. And it's like, bro, you're pretty much just outing yourself for marketing purposes. Like you're doing this for at least partly for a reason.
Well, and when's Yeezus 2 even going to be out? I mean,
who knows?
Yeah, I don't even know when he would drop it at this point if he didn't drop it at the end of the year.
Yeah,
it's probably going to drop in January. That's a really weird month to release. But
and the thing is, he's probably right. Like him doing all this shit. Look, it's in the news cycle and blah, blah, blah. And if he were to drop an album or shoe or whatever the fuck he drops around it, it's going to probably help. It's marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if we're actually taking what he says from on face value, it's like, you got to relax.
Yeah.
So, Joel, what are your thoughts on Offset and Cardi B? Should she take him back?
Oh, my God.
Well, first of all, that is clearly set up. The only question is, did Cardi B know about it beforehand? Because a lot of people, I mean, the dude went on stage with props.
Right.
You don't sneak on stage with props.
Yeah.
I mean, he had
there's a whole team of people
take me
rolling
back.
shit out.
It's like you're not sneaking props on stage.
Yeah.
He had boxes of things. It's like wait, there's a live performance happening. Who's walking by me with what? This is
I think it was set up Offset, obviously, but I don't think Cardi knew. Well, what happened.
The online rumors is Rolling Loud endorsed it, which is I think is extremely messed up. Well, first of all, if you reverse the roles, if Cardi cheated on Offset and think of a female going on stage to a male performer and doing that same thing, she would be booed off stage. Yeah. So that it's playing on a level of kind of misogyny, and I don't know if you want to say in hip hop or in music in general, but reverse the roles. I don't think that's taken so kindly. Agreed. And then so Cardi kicks him off stage, says she didn't know about it, but the online rumors Rolling Loud didn't. I mean, you could see they didn't do much to stop it. I don't know if the one thing is if people said he was being chauffeured on stage by Cardi's manager or publicist or something. I don't know. I didn't know about that. But if Rolling Loud knew about it and didn't stop him, that's extremely messed up.
Well, and that's my thing is I believe it was set up by Rolling Loud and Offset, and mad other people were involved, including probably people close to Cardi, thinking it was like a moment that could happen. But I just don't think Cardi did know, because even the way she reacted and kind of just like she didn't say anything over a mic.
She put the mic down.
Yeah, and then even the way the house DJ or whoever was talking. The sound, it was really awkward. Like, all right, guys, let's make some noise. And they're just up there having a legit off-mic conversation.
Yeah, I got to cringe from it.
Yeah, so that's what makes me think Cardi didn't have anything to do to set that up. And if that's the case, what you said, that is really fucked up by Rolling Loud. Your big headline performance, you just set her up like this?
Yeah, if anyone in my team knew about that beforehand and didn't stop it, I would fire them. And then I don't know what she could do to Rolling Loud other than be really mad at them. Yeah. I mean, they're going to pay her anyway, but
that's why
ridiculous.
I feel bad for Cardi in the situation if all those things are true, is because like she's then on social media, Instagram, whatever, talking about, defending Offset, like stop bashing him, whatever. This is private. This isn't for you guys, whatever. But he made it public. Like, you can't do what he did and then be like, no, it's a private matter. But I get her saying that, because if she had nothing to do with it and considers her relationship and like this aspect of it to be like not for everybody's opinion, that's her call. But he made it public, so unfortunately, your man or ex-man or baby daddy,
who has an album coming out in the near future, by the way.
Yeah, so I'm not putting shit past him, but I do think at this point, I don't think Cardi had anything to do with it. But maybe I'm just naive.
Any feelings? Moe-T's been real quiet.
I don't have any
feelings. Moe-T is a secret Offset defender. He's like, you guys like that trash Cardi B? Are you kidding?
No. I have no opinions on this.
So I guess the last big thing we can get to that happened this week, unless you guys have anything else, was the Ebro Kodak Black thing. Did you guys pay any attention to that?
I vaguely saw it, yeah.
Basically, from my understanding, Kodak has like a sexual assault case or something along those lines pending against him that he's in the middle of. Went to do an interview with Ebro, and did you guys see the video at all of him bringing it up?
Yeah, just a quick tangent. Do you know why Kodak wears a ski mask when he's on the Breakfast Club, but not a ski mask when he's on Hot 97? Because he just had his face.
He's probably just more comfortable. Breakfast Club.
More comfortable. I don't know which one he's more comfortable with. He walked off Hot 97, but he wears a ski mask to the Breakfast Club.
Yeah, I know they did it in his first. I think it was just a stunt, when he first went up to Breakfast Club. He wore a ski mask, and now they just did it again because it was like the thing.
It's goofy.
But, That's how I picture him now. That's how I default picture him. Did you see the video of the Ebro thing? Like, do you know what happened?
I didn't see the video. I just heard briefly.
I don't know too much about his legal troubles. I didn't know
what it was.
I don't know anything about the legal troubles themselves either. I was just kind of shocked to see.
Doesn't sound good.
Yeah, I was shocked to see that it was such a big debate with people. Like, there were lots of people on one side of like, Ebro's fucked up for having him up there and then bringing that shit up how he did, and then there's people that's
how
like,
Trick Daddy feels.
Yeah, and then there's people that are like, well, he came up to a radio station and has a case pending against him, and they brought it up. Like, what do you want him to do? They're not the artist's promo team. They're a radio station.
It would be really, from a publicist perspective. I mean, I don't know if Kodak Black has a publicist, but there's a certain when you have news surrounding you, it'd be really weird to interview Tekashi 6ix9ine and not bring up, hey, you got some stuff going on that is probably even more important than your music in the news, even though your music does sell a lot,
Yeah.
and I guess maybe one feeds into the other. But it would be weird to not bring that up.
Yeah,
when
along
it comes
those
to
lines,
Kodak Black.
From what I heard, because I don't know, is it Atlantic, whoever he's signed to? Like, he obviously goes around with a team to these interviews, and from what I heard, they didn't even have like a pre-production meeting that like these topics are off. Like, you can't.
That's what I was about
these
to ask. Isn't that like normally the process?
Right, and sometimes radio personalities just disregard those.
I would hope. Yeah, I would hope if he said that's off topic, Ebro would kill it beforehand,
Right.
or maybe if he set that up as kind of a stunt. I
Right.
guess that's maybe.
But apparently they didn't even have that pre-production meeting, so it's like all the more reason. But to me, like when I watched the video, if you watch the video, I do think Ebro brought it up in kind of a whack way. Like, I thought he was kind of antagonizing. And he was saying in his defense, he's like, because, you know, he can't talk about a pending case. So it's like, that's what people were saying is like, why bring up something that he can't even talk about?
Right.
And Ebro was like, well, I didn't even ask a question about it. I was just saying, you know, we take it seriously and we can have you up here, you know, another time to talk about, we take it. And that to me is like almost whacker, because you're just, okay, you're not even asking me a question. You're just preaching to me that sexual assault is a bad thing. Like, okay, thanks for having me up here to do that. But
So my new single.
yeah, my overriding thing though is like, if Kodak Black is innocent of these charges or whatever, the very least what you can say is like, yeah, you're right. Sexual assault is a terrible thing.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't need to be like, I'm going to walk out.
Is that a trick? Yeah, is that a trick question? Ebro?
Yeah. So I do think, I think Ebro could have done it better, but I think it's not like out of bounds. I think he could have brought it up in a better way, but
Right.
like, I think Ebro was kind of looking for a reaction, I guess is what I'm saying. And he got it.
If I was Kodak, I would wear a ski mask from now on, because those interviews seem to go better for him.
Yeah.
Isn't that the job of the radio host, though, is to get reactions out of these guys?
And I heard people like, you know, Kodak's not the most articulate person out here, so for him to defend himself, that's not Ebro's problem.
No,
Don't have him up here talking.
No.
Like, you put a
That's
mic
the
in front of his
publicist's
face.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he's up here to talk, so it's
Right.
his fault if he's not articulate enough. He shouldn't be doing an interview.
No, yeah. Yeah, that's definitely not his problem.
All right. Anything else before we get into this shit?
That's all the news I wanted to talk about. Anything I cared about, not relating to.
All right. So
sports.
we each came up with our top 5 albums of the year. How do you guys want to get into this? Do we want to go one person at a time, given their rundown? Do we each want to do number 5, then each do number 4?
Well, I've seen it done a couple of different ways. You could each do each, or if I bring up something on my list and say that's my number 5, one of you guys could be like, that's my 3.
Right, because we're gonna run into some overlap.
I would think there'd be some overlap, but maybe there won't be in certain areas. So maybe if I bring something up, I'm talking about an album, for example, and I say it's my number 5, the Packy jump in and be like, that's my 3. Here's
Right.
what I feel, and then we could just cover the ones we miss or whatever.
Right. So why don't we start by just going around? We'll give our number 5s, and then obviously
If there's overlap.
there's probably will be. Then we'll just talk about the albums that we're mentioning and where we have them ranked and what we thought about them.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
All right.
Fun. It's tough for me to rank these, though.
I found it was tough at the end. I was pretty set on my top 3. I have tiers, and I really had a top 6, and then I felt bad about cutting anything after 5, and then I didn't feel as bad about cutting after like 8.
Okay. I felt pretty good about my 5. So
I feel good about 2, but I just felt bad.
I feel good about my 5. I just don't know about the ranking, because they're all like good albums.
Yeah.
So, like it's
my
just
ranking is
tough.
perfect. All right.
We'll see about that.
Well, you're an adult. I hope you can get with it.
All right. I guess I'll start it off and we'll go around.
Clockwise.
My number 5 album of 2018 was Drake, Scorpion.
Not on my list.
Wow.
It's on mine.
Who do you got at number 5, Joe?
Well, do you want to talk about? Well, actually, can we talk about Scorpion a little bit before I get into my 5?
Where did you have it ranked?
2.
Ooh.
Well, Scorpion plays into part of the thing, a theme in hip hop this year that you guys have covered on other podcasts. Short versus long albums,
Yeah.
and long albums playing into a streaming algorithm fitting into the streaming space.
Yep.
So do I punish? So if Drake's album was 8 songs, it's definitely in my top 5. Do I punish him for loading it with filler? And I mean, not even consider Culture 2 because it's if Culture 2 was 8 songs, I feel like I would rank it higher. Whereas I rank Pusha T's album higher because it's only the 7 best songs. And that's how I did it. I'm gonna put Pusha ahead of Drake because I can listen to Pusha front to back, and I would skip multiple parts of the Drake album.
And I guess my halfway, it's kind of a cop out of an answer, but it's true. Is I would take that into consideration. Like, I don't think you can just disregard it, but I don't weigh it so heavily to like if I could say, like you said, if his album was 8 songs, take the best 8 songs and I would love it. Yeah, maybe if his album was 40 songs, I'd be like, yeah, you're right. But I didn't feel as though there was a ton of just filler. I thought the quote unquote filler songs were good songs. And then he had, like you said, 8 songs that were, big songs.
Well, and my points are probably a little bit different than your guys's because if you listen to enough podcasts, I'm big on the replay value of things. Yeah. And so basically the way that I ranked my albums is I went back and I was like, what was my soundtrack for 2018? Like, what was my playlist? What were the songs that were on those playlists?
Yeah.
What albums were those a part of? And then I went back after that and I said, okay, what's cohesive in the fact of an album? Can that trump something that I was playing over and over again?
Yeah.
Just because that was a good album. But Drake's Scorpion, see, a lot of those songs were in my playlist the whole entire.
That's the point I kept coming across as I was doing this, and why, like Joel said, he doesn't have Drake in his top 5. I think you're lying to yourself.
Well, if I do singles, 2 of the singles off that would probably be in my top 10 with Nonstop and Nice for What.
And that's what I'm saying.
And then there's other singles for if you had to tell any artist in the world, make a Billboard top 100 song, rank it as high as possible, pick one artist out of the artists, you'd pick Drake.
Right.
I don't even argue that.
Well, and that's the thing, I guess.
Even his features blow up for other people.
Right.
I mean, he's a career maker.
For me, I tried to combine those aspects of things as far as, yes, I don't think the most important thing is to just have hits on an album, because I do think, especially the day and age we're in where things are going and albums are almost dying a little bit, I do think it's important to, as an artist, when you make an album, that it is kind of like telling a story, and it is kind of like a moment in your life and something people can connect to.
Yeah.
I guess in a different way, Drake had that a little bit, as far as the whole A side of that was built around a moment of his life with this whole like good music, Pusha, Kanye, and all the things going along with that. It's not as personal to a listener, but it does give a snapshot of a moment of his career.
Yep.
And so he had that, and then he had all the hits. And that's why, like, yes, if I were to just say, what album did I play the most? It very well could be Scorpion. But there's a reason I don't have it at number 1, and that's because I didn't necessarily connect with it like some of the other albums. But I'd be lying to myself if I went back and looked at like my Spotify stats or whatever. It could very well be my number 1. It's got songs I play over and over, and so I just felt like I'd be being fake if I didn't put the shit.
I know, looking at Spotify, Nice for What and Nonstop were in my top 10 this year.
Yeah,
but
and that's the thing, is it's not my number 1. And honestly, I'm with you. Most like Nonstop, God's Plan, Mob Ties, and Nice for What were all played a shit ton in my playlist throughout the year. So if I'm just going off of my replay value, that song probably makes number 1. It got trumped by another album because I liked the songs. They weren't played as much, but the way that they tied in with the album
better.
made it.
And that's how I'll go into mine, so we don't just stay on this Drake topic. But my list, I favored album over singles, because I made a list of singles I like too, and it does differ from my albums list. But I cut Carter 5 out of my top 5. It's at 6 in my 5, and I cut it for this artist. At number 5, I had No Name's Room 25, because I wanted a Chicago artist there three interesting projects from the. I guess, do you call Smino a Chicago artist because he's by way of St. Louis? But
he's always repping St. Louis.
Yeah, but and then Saba put out "Care for Me," which is also interesting, not in my top 5. But
I just heard Saba's project.
I kind of missed it. I feel like is why. But when I think of a whole album, to me, I'll rank your album higher the more I'll listen to it front to back. And Room 25 was like my editing music this year, or just my relaxed music. I like it's, she comes from No Name comes from a poetry background, and it was really chill, really different than all the other albums in my top 5. And I found if I like hip hop, I either getting into the more curated side of hip hop where it's less about the lyrics, more about the production, or just pure, really relaxed stuff. Like I really do like a lot of the stuff coming out of Chicago right now.
So like you said, it sounds like you place a little more importance on the album as a whole, being able to sit down, listen to a whole album, and
when we're talking about albums, and it's so weird nowadays because it is such a singles culture,
right? We prefer playlists more nowadays.
I don't think any of these are classic albums, to be honest. I don't think there was a classic of.
And that's why it's tough for anybody to sit down.
I thought
and
there was
rank
a classic album.
What?
But not in the general, not what everyone would say. Just to me. To me.
All right, Mo, go to your number 5.
My number 5 was Championships. Meek.
That's a good one. That was close to me. I only ranked the top 5, and then I just had like a list of others.
Same. And that was in my others.
But that would have been in my top 10 for sure.
I really like that album.
Yeah, that was a good one. That's cool to me because I wouldn't. Not that I think I even said this when he dropped. I just wouldn't think Meek Mill would be in your like top 10 artists. So it's cool that he was able to go make a project, and it doesn't mean you don't like him. It just means it's cool that he was able to go make a project.
No, and I never would either. But I felt like I don't know, that project was kind of a different Meek than what I'm.
If you had to make an all-star team for an album, I would have Meek Mill do the intro. He would be he would be my point guard.
Yeah, I mean,
he would be starting at the 1. Do the intro, Meek.
He's pretty undeniable with that.
Here's a Phil Collins beat.
Okay, so that takes care of the number 5 slot for everybody. Let's move it along to number 4. I have Nipsey Hussle Victory Lap.
I thought that was going to be at your 1. I knew how much you liked that. I mean, it was not to be in your top 5.
Yeah, I'm a big Nipsey fan, and this was a project that was kind of a long time coming for him. So he had a chance to stack up some songs, and I'm big. I like the independent grind, motivational. He's also a good rapper, picks good beats. It was just a good project for me.
Yeah, it also in my list of others. I feel like in some of the stuff in the list of others, I feel like I didn't give it enough time, and I would, albums will hit you we're not music reviewers, so albums will hit you at certain times. Coming in at number 4 for me, I did have Daytona by Pusha T. I felt it was the best of those good music projects. The production was great. I mean, it's short, so obviously it's easy to listen to front to back, but it was the first album I really, really got excited about this year, coming out late spring, early summer? I don't know.
And it was the first of those good music ones.
Yeah, and it holds up very well against everything. Someone made an interesting point to me not to me specifically, but I was reading a blog, and they said, if you take Pusha T's last album and just take if you take the best 8 songs or 7 songs off each album, you could, and make it cohesive in a way, you could kind of play that game with everything. But still, I mean, if I listen to it front to back and I like all the songs, and Infrared set off a lot of storylines this year.
Yeah, I mean,
baited Drake into a trap.
That was an important song for 2018.
That's an important song for the hip hop news cycle of 2018.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I guess I will say though, so I'm hearing your argument about like a smaller, more concise project is easier to listen to front to back, easier to enjoy the whole project because there's nothing you want to skip. But there's also a little bit of an aspect to me of when you have a short project like that, some of the songs that on another project that's maybe 12 songs or 14 songs that are quote unquote filler are also able to give the artist a chance to be a little more introspective and connect with a real core fan and stuff.
For filler, I'm thinking of like 18, 20 plus.
Yeah.
I mean, the main filler albums I was concerned with were Drake and Migos. I wish those projects were the only ones that, and I feel like I have an inherent Drake bias for whatever reason. I've never been the biggest Drake guy.
Well, and I guess it doesn't necessarily apply to Pusha here because I don't really think of Pusha necessarily as someone.
I don't think Pusha could do 20.
Well, and I don't think he's someone that's going to give me this super introspective, like, this.
I like Pusha giving me 7 songs.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect.
Like, he makes a type of song and you don't want to, like, go overkill.
Yeah,
Seven's great.
Seven's
great. It worked for him. I don't necessarily. I
Yeah.
think with a different artist, it might not be enough.
Yeah.
No.
But it works for him.
Totally agree.
And it was in my honorable mention. Did you have it top 5?
I had it 4.
Wow.
Hey, tie
what do
game,
you
tie
know?
game.
Great minds think alike.
Great minds think alike.
Yep, I had it 4. And pretty much for the same reasons.
Yeah. The one thing for me about Daytona that was weird is I loved it when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
I think, what is it? The games we play?
These are the games we play.
I
If
loved
you know,
like,
you know.
I
Yeah.
replayed that one a ton.
I played
And
Infrared a lot, and if you know, you know. I don't know. I just
I liked If You Know, You
humming
Know,
part came over to me.
but it was like, and this is just a me thing
Mhm.
for some reason. After a week, it was just done for me. I never played it again. Which is weird for a shorter project.
Mhm.
You'd think it would be like, oh, I'll go listen to
It
this.
wasn't necessarily done for me, though.
Yeah, it's been the 2 songs specifically have been in my
mine in my
playlist
playlist was If You Know, You Know and What Would Meek Do. Those are my 2.
I like Hard Piano too. A little Rick Ross on it. You miss that gruff voice man sometimes in your music.
Yeah.
I'm a big Ross fan.
He's grown on
me over the years.
The reason why it made it
Grizzly
into my
Bears
top
hip-hop people.
5, though, is just because what you were saying, Joel, is it's just like 7 songs. You can't skip any of them. It's just a dope project. Like,
Yeah,
it's just...
and my others are. I don't have anything else as short as that on here. But
No, I don't either.
Yeah. All right, number 3.
All right, number 3, I have, drumroll please, Post Malone, Beer Bongs and Bentley.
Oh,
Ooh.
did not make it for me.
Yeah, I don't think that made it for me
I
either.
wish, and he's like a subgenre of hip hop to me at this point.
But,
right?
but he's
Is he?
hip hop. Like,
Is he hip hop?
He's hip-hop. I would say, yeah.
I guess
I don't know.
I could compare him to something else on my list in terms of what is hip hop nowadays.
Yeah, hip hop is pretty broad nowadays.
Yeah.
But to me, it's like if you listen to the beats are what get me on because he himself is a mix between.
he's not necessarily a rapper, but
Right.
his music is hip hop.
right.
My favorite Post Malone thing. There's this video of him on the internet where it's under his name, Austin Richards, and he's covering a Bob Dylan song, "Don't Think Twice, It's All Right,"
Yeah.
and it's just singing with his voice. I say his voice is so good.
Yeah.
And I almost wish he was some other. I mean, I don't know. I feel like he's not wasting his talents. He's making. I mean, what did Rockstar make more money than any other? It had to be one of the top 5
Yeah,
singles of
Rockstar
the
was
year,
huge.
if not the top.
Psycho was huge.
Oh yeah, but so I don't want to say wasting because he's making a ton of money. He's getting a ton of radio play, but I don't know.
I disagree with that. Like, I love
Yeah.
the music he puts
like
out.
him on
And
hip-hop, yeah.
I mean, Psycho, Spoil My Night was a big one, and I guess I'm not surprised you don't have it on there. Not even necessarily knowing how big of a fan you are of Post Malone, but it is kind of like, for me, more of the Scorpion aspect of, I just like the songs. Like, I just stream that music and I play those songs a lot. It wasn't like I went back and listened to the whole album multiple times. But I do think, and why I had it higher than Scorpion, for example, is, again, I could go listen back to that album and not really feel the need to hit skip, for me personally. Like, there were some big hits on there, and then a lot of the in between. And part of that is like
Huge hits.
like an artist like Nipsey, like I mentioned, he's got a rap. Like, he's not a melodic guy. These Drake, Post Malone, they have the advantage of their hooks, and they can have catchy songs and they can change shit up to make a whole album where you don't get bored. And that's just kind of how I
I don't
felt
know.
about
Post Malone's always just been good to me. Like, he never really does much for me. That's just the way I feel about him.
Yeah, I mean, to each their own. But I thought his project was dope.
Yeah.
And he's unique.
And I feel kind of the same way. He is unique, though. He's
unique.
He's a very
dude. He's
a revelation.
I listened to his project all the way through like multiple times. He's good. Like you can't refute it, but
and he's part of a class of hip. I mean, we could talk about this at the end, but hip hop is changing to a degree, and he's part of that.
He's part of that.
Yeah, you need to be able to be versatile in your flows. I'm gonna go to my number 3. Did either of you have this project? I had Taboo by Denzel Curry. Did that catch
No,
either
I
of
didn't
your
even
radars?
listen to it. I didn't even listen to it.
That was probably the biggest surprise to me, in that I had the only thing I really knew about Denzel Curry before this project was that the song was on all the memes, like the "I am the one," the ultimate song. And I heard his Sumo single, which was interesting to me. But I like when the single is not necessarily a song that sticks out to me, because I listened to the project and I really love the intro. A good intro will really get you to. I feel like Meek gets points for that, because it really takes you into the album and takes you into the headspace of the artist. And I love Taboo, and that was one of my most played songs this year on my Spotify top 10. As well as he put out 2 of the hardest songs. If I was still being athletic, if I was still playing basketball, I would have maybe Sumo, but definitely Vengeance. Dude, if you're going to do anything athletic, you got to listen to this Vengeance song by Denzel Curry
I won't listen
and
to it,
JPEG Mafia. I would put my head through this wall if that song was playing right now, just to.
I gotta go listen to
it
this
goes so
project.
hard.
It reminds me too. I wanted to preface this
It will
whole
destroy
thing
your car.
with kind of like what you said earlier. We're not professional music reviewers
Yes,
or whatever,
we
so
miss
there
stuff.
are plenty of projects that I just didn't listen to.
Oh, yeah, for
it doesn't
sure.
mean that like that's a good example. Denzel Curry, I didn't get around to his project.
I would go back for Taboo,
And I
because
will, yeah.
I was happy because I tweeted out what I wanted to see my followers on Twitter's opinion of what they thought the best album was, and a lot of people said Taboo, and that made me happy that it did catch a lot of people's ears, and I'm seeing it get a lot of the top 8, top hip hop albums of 2018. I'm seeing that get a lot of love, and I felt that way too.
How long is that album?
That is, I want to say 13 or 14 tracks. I know because I don't. It's multiple showers in a row, because if I'm playing it when I'm in the shower, we can do like the first 3 tracks, and then next shower.
How long is the album? It's about 1.5 showers.
Yeah, it's about 3. Actually, I think it's about 3.5 showers. Doing the math on that one, I think it's about 13 songs.
Nice. Yeah, I'll have to check
Nice
that out.
long car ride. We could go straight to almost to Grand Rapids with it, maybe.
I'll have to check that out.
where are we?
3.
You're 3.
Well, we're in the office.
Throwing my cap.
I have KOD at 3.
KOD, that was an honorable mention for me.
Not on my even honorable mentions. Was really disappointed with that project.
I remember because Joel was here.
Yeah, that was
when
here
we
right
talked
after that
about
came out.
Yeah.
And I feel similar to how I did. I like For Your Eyes Only better, and I don't even really like that album.
Yeah.
Well, give me your KOD thoughts. I don't want to trash it.
No.
I
mean,
like J. Cole. I want him to win.
I feel
Yeah, I know
like
you do.
when it came out, like I talked about it, but I don't know. It's kind of the same thing as Scorpion for me, maybe a little bit lesser. But just, I don't know, man. Like I can listen to the project all the way through and I like it.
Mm-hmm.
And then just the standout songs on it just trump everything else that was in my playlist, like for the year.
Yeah, you really
I can see
liked ATM, right? As a single.
I liked ATM. I liked Motivate. I liked
KOD was fire. The
I
song
liked
itself.
KOD was
Kevin's
my
Heart.
favorite song from
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I thought that was a good album. It just wasn't quite. Again, that one would be in my top 5. Meek would be, or top 10. I mean, Meek would be in my top 10, but they just didn't quite crack the top 5 for me.
All right, what's 2? Or wait, did you say 2?
No.
I said 2 because
Yeah, you had a 2 already. Yeah.
Okay. So you've given 4 years, right?
Yeah.
Number 2 from Mo is Scorpion. My number 2 is Tory Lanez, Memories Don't Die.
Oh god,
Missed it. And I didn't miss it on purpose. Missed that one.
I missed a shot.
No. I missed that album. Missed it. Didn't hear that one.
No, see, this is one where I know I'm a bigger Tory fan than some other people, and I know I'm bigger on this project than some other people, but I just think this album is... Tory is one of those guys that he can give you pop vibes, he can give you R&B vibes, and like he just proved to people that weren't big fans and paid attention to him, he can rap with some of the best rappers. And so on an album, when he gives you all of that shit, like I guess I do appreciate the variety when I'm going to listen to a full-length album that I can hear these different things and not get bored. And dude, to me, some of the songs on that shit, like For Me is my favorite one on there. Don't Die, the outro is dope. Like there's just a lot of, again, there's not filler. There's a lot of good rapping, good singing. I just don't get bored when I listen to it. That was probably, if I had to just guess, Scorpion was probably like my most streamed if I added up how many songs. This was probably number 2 for me.
Wow. It got 0 streams from me.
I'm surprised. Did you listen to the album?
Obviously not. I got 0
I
streams
can
from
picture
me.
the album
So
art
neither
in my
one-
head right now. He looks good. Well, I will say he looks good on that album. I'm a married man. No, he's a nice bald-headed man.
I remember the album cover. It looks good.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, it looks good. I'll pass on that.
We're not ranking album covers?
Yeah, we're not. Do you guys have your top album?
He was number
I mean,
1 on my album cover.
Yeah, yeah, I'll put him on the top 5 for that.
So neither one of you listened to this album?
No.
Okay.
I
Missed it.
I do like the versatility point because I think the top 2 hip hop artists in the game right now are extremely versatile in what they can do with their flows, and I think I think Tory
Drake and Tory Lanez.
I was thinking Drake and Kendrick Lamar, but maybe Tory Lanez is popping up there. Maybe we can get that public relations stuff around him just cleaned up, just tune it up a little bit. All Tory's missing is a good publicist.
Yeah, that's right. And a better album cover.
And a better album. Well, no, you couldn't do much better. All right, my number 2. My number 2. Speaking of J. Cole winning, I think J. Cole is winning with an artist that he has
I thought you
under
were going
his
to say
label.
Forest Hills Drive.
Wait, what?
I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Okay. DiCaprio 2 is my number 2.
That was also in my top 10.
Yeah, that
In
was
your
tough.
top 10. That is my number 2, and maybe it's Prisoner of the Moment. It didn't come out too long ago, and I want him to succeed because he came into my radar this year, and I really like him. And again, I like J. Cole too, so knowing that he has an artist under his label that could be bigger in years to come, maybe a bigger 2019 and 2020 for JID.
Yeah.
That really, I got hype about that. But also, I mean, and what I wanted to see from him on this album, he's known for rapping extremely fast, which is not as cool in 2018 as it used to be. It's kind of like a circus trick now. It's like swallowing a sword. I'll watch it once, but I'm not gonna. Okay, we get the 12th sword, dude. We get it.
Right.
But he had a lot more versatility on this. My favorite song was kind of a slower song on the album. It was Working Out, had a piano beat in it, and it was really nice. And I still like Off D's with the J. Cole feature and Westbrook. Great song.
I like
effort to get
Zoinkies
pumped
on
up.
that.
Wait, what'd you like?
Off the Zoinkies.
Oh, yeah, Off the Zoinkies. Yeah, that was a good one too. I really like
fire.
that song. Yeah.
And Just the Other
number 2.
Day was a good one. It was a good album. And I guess, just like you said, maybe you're Prisoner of the Moment. I might even be trying to fight that too much. Like, it's too recent, and all these other ones I've been able to live with longer.
I stopped fighting. He took me.
No,
there.
he's dope. He's dope. I'm a big fan of his. Moe-T, because I don't really know Joel's taste quite as much as I know yours. I think you would like Tory's album. Like, I really do. Just give it a listen.
Stop trying to put me onto Tory.
But bro, like it surprised me that people didn't like this album the way I liked it. That's what surprised me. Mainly because
if I have to listen to one thing after this, I'll have Tory on my.
And I'll listen to Denzel
listen
Curry.
to Taboo.
Yeah,
Taboo
and
is great.
I guess the main reason I'm like, because a lot of artists and albums I like, whatever, I can easily be like, yeah, I like them, but I can understand Tory, and maybe that's why you don't like it, but he can be very mainstream and friendly to the ears. You know what I mean? It's not like you gotta have this niche taste to like him. He's got
Do you
a
think
lot
he
of
just
pop
doesn't have the
records and
right
stuff.
industry push behind him. I mean,
Is it his content?
It could be, and that's the one thing I'll say is he makes a lot of things that are friendly to the ears, but maybe he's not necessarily speaking to the listener like he should. But in his raps, I do feel that. So I would recommend it. That's all I'll say.
Because the last Tory Lanez, I'm trying to think of like what
He put
I
out
heard
2 albums in
last of-
2018. The most recent one I didn't like nearly as much,
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
but the one
I
earlier
listen-
this
I-
year.
I don't know what I listened to last of him, but I think that was my problem. Is his like the content that like I get why people would like him because he like sounds good, like sonically he can do a lot of stuff, but the content of his songs just weren't really doing it.
and he's a plagiarizer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. That was
All right.
that was the big news topic with Tori.
So we're down to our number one. Should we try to guess each other's?
I literally thought yours was Victory Lap, so I feel like I'd be on my second guess.
I'm guessing yours is. I don't know what Moe's would be. You've named the ones I thought it would be. Yours is Astroworld.
Oh, okay. Well, it is. Yeah, good job. What's yours,
Nice.
Kamikaze? Is it Kamikaze or Young Sinatra 4? Just tell me.
Moe-T's is Kamikaze.
No.
Yours is.
Kamikaze, really?
Yours is. I don't know. I hope it's not the same as mine.
I bet it is. What is it? I don't even know what I missed.
Mine is J-Rock Redemption.
Oh, okay. I don't hate it.
We've already
that's
said
that's
it,
in my
what
that's in my
mine is.
mentions.
Oh, we've already said yours. Why didn't you?
Because
say
I
anything?
wanted the,
What was yours?
You got to guess.
Oh, wait, we've
said it,
already
though.
said it. What was yours?
We've already said it in our top.
Mhm.
Is it? It's got to be DiCaprio 2 then, right?
No, he said that was in
Oh,
his honorable
fuck
mention.
you,
What
then.
was your number 2? DiCaprio 2?
My number 2 is my DiCaprio 2. Astroworld is number 1 for me. It was Travis Scott's
Is it
year.
Astroworld?
No.
What? It's not anyone I named because you didn't even like. Oh, is it Victory Lap?
Yeah.
No,
I
you
got
had the wrong
brother
spectator.
switched. Yeah, I got the wrong spectator.
Yep. Wow, we all had different number ones. So
Dude, I actually played
Wait, what
that
was your
album
number
a
one?
lot.
J-Rock Redemption.
J-Rock Redemption. Yeah. And I like that. And J-Rock's in my top 10.
He is okay.
Yeah.
Did you listen to J-Rock?
Yeah.
Dude, that one just for some reason just hit me. Like I didn't go in as opposed to the other artists on my top 5, Tory, Drake, Post Malone, Nipsey Hussle. Like I was a big fan of all those guys going in. I had expectations for their albums. J-Rock was just kind of like another rapper to me. Like I like some feature verses I've heard from him. I like some random songs, but I'm not like super familiar with him. And he dropped this album and I listened to it all the way through. Like right away with the bloodiest intro. I was like, wow, that was hard. And the whole album, again, no filler. You could hear
it's a dope album.
you could feel Kendrick's touch on it and like
yeah.
that TDE touch. And he had for a rapper in his lane, like a little more gangster rapper, he was able to get like kind of a hit out of it with Win and the Wild freestyle with Kendrick. He had some joints on there and I just thought it was really cohesive. And he's been in the game for a while. I think he's like 33 or something like that. And to be able to put out an album that gave me the feel of like, you know, artists' first album is always like, oh, you had 15 years to live this and then you get to go write about it and tell your story. For being in the game for a while and coming out with this album and giving me that feeling, maybe it is because I was kind of a new listener to him, but I thought it was pretty impressive.
And he's getting some love on the end of the year list too. So
Is he?
I feel like a lot of people felt that way too.
Good.
And that's why I had Astroworld so high is because I mean Travis Scott was the Goosebumps song guy to me. Not that I wasn't a big Travis Scott fan, but he was just a kind of like an accessory to me. And I think this with coming together with this album also, I know Taboo is Denzel's third album. I mean, Pusha T's put out a ton of albums, but there's something about third albums. I remember Kendrick saying that in the release to Damn, it wasn't Dre, or maybe it was Dre, or I think it was Jimmy Iovine told him, you know, there's something about third albums. Your third album can really set the trajectory for the rest of your career. It's got to be special. You got to take your time with it. And I thought Astroworld came together. I had Sicko Mode, I believe, was my number 1 played song of the year on Spotify. I don't like a light, and then 20.
Whoa, stop threatening me.
20. Come on, Drake, get out of my text.
Yeah.
Purple devil coming.
Fuck.
And then 21 Savage with the line of the year, nutted on her cheek. Her new nickname is Babyface. Not since William Shakespeare have more beautiful words grace the English language. A true poet. Have 21 on there. But it just, I mean, the whole album, I like the whole, the vibe of it. I was feeling it the whole way through it. I don't know. I couldn't say much more about it. I liked it that much.
Yeah, Astroworld was top.
I had 5
top 10
songs.
for
I
me.
was, going out.
We've
big
pretty
on.
much named all. I think there's probably 1 or 2 spots left in my top 10 that we didn't even name. So, I mean, been given
For
some
us-
good albums.
For us all, I'm not surprised KOD was on one of our lists, but knowing our fandom coming into this year, if you would have told me all the artists that were going to drop this year and had me rank my list beforehand, would
You'd
be
have had 'em there.
vastly.
Oh, yeah.
There would have. I mean, if you told me Kanye and Kid Cudi were dropping in December of 2017, hey, they're going to have a project come out next year.
Yeah.
Which I only really liked. After the year passes, I only really love a song off of it.
Yeah.
Right.
And just seeing that was a big headline of the year to me. So many major artists in the game drop albums. One of the only ones on top that I mean, Kendrick technically didn't drop an album, although he's nominated for Album of the Year for a soundtrack. And I mean, Chance the Rapper didn't drop an album, but I'm trying to think of major artists that didn't drop an album, at least a collaboration. Jay-Z and Beyonce.
I have one, and it was in my biggest disappointment of the year, but we'll get to that.
Wow.
But
you want to do that next, or you want to talk about tracks you like?
we
I
can,
feel
but
like
I
we've
did want to.
already
I did
talked
want to
about
just mention kind of what you were getting at there. Of in 2018, there were so many albums dropped, and so many
Insane.
big artists dropped albums. So yeah, like you said, if you'd have told me before the year J. Cole was going to drop an album, and for me as a big J. Cole fan, it wasn't going to be in my top 5, I'd be like,
I would have locked it in my top 5 before it came out.
But that's the thing. In the past, when these big artists drop an album, it's automatically top 5 because there's just not that many. Like, they're gonna make good projects, and there's just not that much to compete with.
Right.
Now it's like there's so much to compete with. So I liked KOD. It was in my top 10, but like all of a sudden J-Rock puts out a super dope album. Tory Lanez drops 2 albums. Drake drops a 20-song album.
Right.
Like, there's so much to compete with that even a good album doesn't necessarily crack some list.
Yeah, you're competing with a lot.
And it's at that upper echelon, it is hard to be consistently good. You get points to me for being Kanye having so many classic albums. I mean, Jay-Z has classic albums. Kendrick has, I would say, classic albums, modern classic albums at this point. When you get to the upper echelon of we're talking about the best of the best, it is hard because we're not saying by being, J. Cole fans, this was a letdown, although it was a letdown to me. But, 4 out of 5, whatever. It's nitpicking at that point.
Right.
I guess one more or 2 more I wanted to at least mention. East Atlanta Love Letter, Black. That was
Someone put me onto that.
That was really good. Did you listen to Sir's album? November.
Who?
He's a TDE artist.
Mm-mm.
Super smooth. You should check. I think you'd like that.
Is that SIR?
Yep, I think you'd like that. But that was really dope.
I do. I like TDE people. 'Cause
Yeah,
it
check
says
that
he's
out.
Got a bright career ahead of him too.
But yeah. Other than that, we pretty much touched on all the ones I was really considering. Anybody else have anything else as far as albums go?
Someone put me onto Pieces of a Man, Mick Jenkins, kind of late. I was vibing to that.
I hadn't heard that.
I felt bad, but after Mac Miller died, I listened to Swimming. I didn't listen beforehand,
Yeah.
and it was. I feel like I couldn't rank it because my opinion of the album
Yeah,
is
there's
different.
too much-
Post mortem.
Yeah.
Too much
hip hop
going into
deaths
that.
this year.
Yeah.
Kind of sad, but
Yeah, but yeah, a lot of dope shit. A lot of albums that were good that didn't really get top 5 consideration, but good albums. So did you guys think about like any song of the year shit?
I did. I mean, I would probably have it as Sicko Mode.
I think it has to be.
Yeah.
Would that be? That
Like I
has to
said,
be
I
the
have
biggest
Drake
song.
on 3 of these that I had. I had a little like 7. Like Drake, I tried
But he
to
doesn't crack your top.
as much as I. Okay, well, but 2 weren't on Drake's album.
Here we go.
Okay,
Well,
so
maybe he
Sicko
should
Mode-
have taken Yes Indeed back from Lil Baby.
Was
Because
that- okay,
Yes
that was
Indeed
what-
was in
okay.
my top 10
Yeah,
tracks
okay.
as well too.
Okay.
Yellow Ferrari like Pikachu, guys. and we don't want that on Scorpion. Is that how much you're winning, Drake? You don't need that one?
Yeah,
Pass
I mean-
on that, Lil Baby. Keep that on yours. Keep dripping.
If we're asking biggest songs, like not even just my personal favorite, but biggest songs, to me, it's got to be Sicko Mode and God's Plan. Like,
Yeah. I
were
don't
there
know.
bigger
And
hip hop
Rockstar.
songs this
Was
year?
Rockstar in
Rockstar
2018?
would be pretty big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
But
know.
I mean, those 2 were huge.
yeah.
I did like my favorite Kanye song to come out this year, Lil Pumpin' Kanye. I love it,
Oh,
probably.
Oh my god.
I like the animated side of Kanye now more.
He's out of control.
I don't know what he's out of, but I'll vibe with some of it.
All right. So
Oh,
Go ahead.
actually,
go
no,
ahead.
never mind. I was gonna say I did like Fourth Dimension from the Kid See Ghost album.
Okay.
I did want to mention that 1930s Christmas song. What is Santa bringing? I've been saying that since the summer.
That was by far the best record on that project.
I'd be
to me.
gaming and be like,
Oh, yeah.
whoa,
I was
what is
a hater of that
Santa
project.
bringing?
I didn't like that project like a lot of my friends did.
I like that song.
I thought
when
it was all right.
when I try to put it up against my other albums, though, it doesn't hold up because I really just listen to Fourth Dimension a bunch.
Yeah.
So, biggest disappointments or any type of just random theme you want to talk about
do
here.
disappointments and themes.
Okay. So I guess I'll start because I kind of touched on it already. My biggest disappointment this year, and because you said pretty much, can you name like a big rapper that didn't drop an album?
Mm-hmm.
Big Sean.
Oh yeah,
Wow. Yeah.
that's true.
Like I put Drake, Kendrick, J. Cole, Big Sean in like a highly regarded class. That's like the age I grew up when they were coming up, and I put them kind of in a class of their own as far as like impact, popularity, but also they can rap. Like there's a lot of guys that are big, like we talk about Post Malone, and like there's artists that are big, but would I want to sit down and hear them do like a radio freestyle? These four guys are kind of in a class of their own for me, but Big Sean is creeping out of it. Like Drake's he's the biggest artist in the world.
Yeah.
Kendrick is friggin' huge. J. Cole he would kind of fall off the map, but he had a big 2018 as far as being featured
No
on
doubt.
records, being more visible, putting an album out.
Having JID under his label,
Yeah,
I feel like
starting- yeah,
I feel like
Dreamville.
JID. I'd buy stock in him.
Yeah.
Coming forward.
Yeah.
And so, even thinking about this year, that Good Music did their 7, and Big Sean wasn't part of it, and Big Sean didn't really do anything else.
It's him and Sci-Hi
No, he
to
didn't.
Prince on the bench watching all
Yeah.
the good label people shooting.
Yeah.
Him and Sci-Hi getting water. You guys need waters? What do you need? Nas? What? I mean,
See,
good
and-
try, but here you go.
The only thing I'm hoping there, though, is like, I get the idea Sci-Hi would have loved to be tagged into the game. I get the idea Big Sean wanted to stay away from it.
Yeah.
Feel bad
Now,
for
maybe
Sci-Hi.
that's just me giving him the benefit of the doubt, but
No,
there
I
could
feel
be an
it.
aspect of him not wanting to get into all that fuckery and just focus on his own. But even if he were to like drop music in 2018, with all the shit going on with Good Music and stuff, he doesn't even have to take sides or utilize it, whatever, but it would naturally be marketing for him, I would think. And so the fact that so many people are dropping music in 2018 and we just didn't hear shit from Big Sean was kind of disappointing to me.
And I consider myself a big Sean fan, and I was overwhelmed by all the projects, but I completely forgot he didn't drop music in 2018. I was like, who could you be mentioning that didn't drop a project? So yeah, and this is kind of a quantity over quality industry now.
Yeah.
I mean, make the best hits you can in the shortest amount of time possible, but if you're taking a year off, your next thing better be a home run.
And
it
that-
better
that-
be
yeah.
damn.
That's
It better,
the tough thing.
Yeah. Like, I'm interested to see what Chance the Rapper's next project is, knowing people were kind of cool, knowing how popular he is as a commercial artist, I would say nowadays, knowing how cool some people were on his debut album as opposed to his mixtapes. His mixtapes from 10 Day to Acid Rap to Coloring Book as an album have a lot of differences between them. He was a semi-disappointment that he didn't drop.
Yeah.
My biggest disappointment was J. Cole. I don't think that's a big shock if you heard me say
Okay.
that. I wanted him to vault himself, quiet some of the criticisms, boring flow, boring topic stuff. But it's also not a disappointment because I like that he took his shot. I like when artists put out different albums. I don't want to hear Take Care 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah.
I want people to try new things. So shoot your shot even if you missed it.
Yeah.
And then I was also disappointed in Brockhampton, a group that got a lot of play for me last year with their saturation projects they put online, a group I was looking at as up-and-comers, and they had some group legal troubles, a common theme in hip-hop music. Yeah, they had to kick one of their members out for, again, sexual assault type deals and all. Yeah, hip-hop a little kind of dirty with that stuff lately, bad in the news, but I don't think he was even their strongest member, but they are going to put out their debut project this year. They get signed to a major label. I believe it was Atlantic, but I'm not sure. And
Probably
they
Atlantic
change.
signing
I mean, one of their singles over the summer 1999. Wildfire had Jazzy Faye on it, old early 2000s when we were in middle school era stuff that I was really hype about, and then they changed their project multiple times before they released it, and then they released kind of a conceptual thing that didn't even break the radar. So they're like knocking on the door, and no one answered the door this year.
And that's part of the problem with, because it is a quantity over quality era. The problem is when you go lengths of time without drop, and I've done it. Like when you go lengths of time without dropping, and you put that pressure on yourself, then it almost makes you less free to get experimental and try different things, because it's like everyone is just expecting that go-to project from you then. And
the
it's
longer
like,
you take, the more anticipation builds.
Exactly. And so if you're, and that's what I mean with a Big Sean, and like you mentioned Chance, at least Chance gave us some singles and he gave us some shit to listen to.
And I think that's
Chance.
smart. I think you got to,
because it just, it makes it a little less all in on that next thing.
Exactly.
And I think that's where some artists are kind of hurting themselves now. It's like, I can't wait for this next thing. Like, I haven't heard from you in so long. And then it might be okay. It's not even like it's a bad project, but it's received badly because people are just expecting the fucking world.
I think it's a real, you have to be in a really special position to be able to just be quiet for a while and then drop something, and then you can walk away.
It's rare.
I could do without it.
It's rare.
I mean, that's someone,
especially this day and age.
That's
like,
the upper echelon.
I mean,
you
look
can't just be quiet.
You look at the highest echelon of that is Drake, and he doesn't do it. Like Drake could do that, and he doesn't do it. He's featured even when Drake was coming up. He was featured on everything.
Right.
And that's what I mean when I talk about Big Sean. Is he didn't have features, he didn't have singles.
But is Drake because he does do that?
Probably, yeah. I'm sure
that's
he always stays relevant.
To me, the generation of those artists that can do that is no more. Like, it's about to become nothing.
Yeah, I mean, even when
you have to do it.
Even
now.
when Kendrick, like after he dropped Good Kid, Mad City, and then he kind of went off the map a little bit, and he did To Pimp a Butterfly, and he won a Grammy. He could have established himself as the fall off the map artist, and he would have been fine. But he actually turned around and like put his hand in a ton of shit,
right?
And did a ton of features.
I remember there was a bunch of news articles like his people are telling him to stop doing features.
And dude,
well, it's funny with Drake. Sorry to interject real quick, but I wonder if there will be an oversaturation point with Drake, and if we're right on the precipice of it, because his signee, the person that signed him, Lil Wayne, I felt like maybe we ran into a little Lil Wayne oversaturation in the
I think we did, but I also think
Drake is more versatile.
I also think if we run to a point where we're sick of hearing from Drake, I don't even think it's oversaturation. I think it's just his career ran its course. Because if Drake was going to oversaturate us, it would have happened by now. Mm-hmm. You can't say, after 15 years you oversaturate. No, that's just a rapper's career.
Right.
Like,
hell
damn.
of a career.
Yeah,
right.
Holy shit.
It's entertainment. Like, you can't create the same shit forever.
Yeah. So
like,
I don't think it's like Seinfeld didn't just oversaturate us. They just hit the end.
Yeah, they hit the end and they decided to stop.
Yeah. So I think that's more where Drake is.
You got me stressed out about Big Sean now. I can't even think about anything, dude. I'm like, man, Big Sean's going to fall off the map. I'm like, I had all these things to talk about, and now I'm like, how's Sean doing?
Yeah.
Do I have his number? Can I call him? Sean, Sean, pick up. Get back with Ariana. Get a storyline going.
And he's
anything,
dude. He's gonna be in that boat now. When he drops an album, I'm gonna be really anticipating it and hoping for big things. And it's like, I understand it's not fair to think that,
dude.
way.
It's this day and age, though. Especially like you can't even put it into words anymore, because your mind is just trained to be that way because there's so much music.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I did have one. Did you have any big disappointments?
My only I mean, I had a lot of like little ones, but it's
not listening to Tory Lanez, probably.
Yeah, probably my 0 streams
missing
for
out on that
Tory Lanez.
Lane's hotness. Fresh T.
You didn't even
Lane's.
miss the album cover.
No, I mean, my biggest thing was just that, honestly, this is the first year that I felt like I wasn't connected to any big, not necessarily project, but just like anticipation in general. Like, it was just kind of like music, and I'll get to what I can, but I'm not in any rush to listen to anything.
Yeah.
that was kind of my biggest like thought. And I feel like it's just been years and years of like streaming becoming bigger and bigger and just playlists becoming more and more of a thing. And it's so easy for me to access my music now that it's just like, it's so hard for me to feel the need.
And that's what's messed up, because what you just said piggybacks perfectly off of what we were just talking about, but it's like the opposite. As far as we sit here and we're like, where's Big Sean? Why isn't Big Sean dropping? And then he's building this shit he can't live up to, this anticipation he can't live up to. But then on the other hand, we're like, I don't even, look forward to albums like I used to because they're so readily available.
Right.
It's like the artist can't win.
No, the artist can't win.
I don't even know what if I had to bet on the next classic album, I don't even know who I would bet on.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
it's like there's some guys that are so well established that they're at the upper echelon, but then they've also been in the game for multiple years at this point. And then out of the younger group, who are you betting on? I mean, maybe we're aging out of even having an opinion on that, because maybe if this conversation is people who are younger than 25.
Well, and that's the thing.
Post Malone put out a classic.
Yeah.
I don't know if
B&B, baby.
Well, see, I don't think Post Malone, I like his albums, but he'll never make the one that really speaks to me. You know what I mean? But like, okay, an example of a younger, newer artist for me, who like his first album and some of his other songs spoke to me more, was Russ. I was a little disappointed with Russ's second album.
Yeah, me too.
And that's not to say it wasn't good. It just, I was a big Russ fan, and it didn't, kind of like maybe how you feel with KOD. You're a big fan. It doesn't change the fact that you like them as an artist. It just, you were hoping for more from the album.
If I was Kanye, I would be more afraid of Russ's goons than Drake, because Russ's goons seem readily employed. Yeah, they do not take unemployment. Russ's goons are 40 hours a week, from what I've seen on social. So if Kanye, you could stick with Drake. Get on Russ's bad side. That's the end of Jesus. So.
I mean, that's kind of like you said. There's only X amount of artists that, at least for us and the content we like, even have the potential to make like a classic album.
I don't even know if I'd have 5.
Yeah, it's like the obvious Drake, Kendrick, and Cole.
Anyone would name.
And I mean,
but that's why, and I'm not even saying that this is the artist's fault. Like, it's more so like me being scared. Am I getting too old to appreciate this stuff? Is streaming just totally ruining music for me, and I can't like
it's hard to
keep up well enough to? I don't know.
I think we do need to be more willing to give albums like, even I'm looking through my favorite albums list that I just gave, and I'm like, how many times did you even sit down and listen to those albums? Like,
not as much as you would have back in the day.
Exactly.
I think it's
but why though? Because
it's the day and age.
It's a mix.
No. I know it's a playlist day and age rather than an album day and age.
Yeah.
Albums were the playlist.
You used to have to put the CD in your car, and that's all you
had
could
to make
listen
an
to.
effort,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Well, and even to make a playlist, think about the time that it took to make yourself a playlist.
Yeah.
Like,
I used to, back when it was cassettes, I would wait till the song played on the radio, hope I hit record in time.
Yeah.
If I didn't, I screwed the whole thing
Right.
up.
And so what the hell were you going to do? Like, you were going to listen to whatever you had on your tape and on your CD and shit.
Yep.
even like back in, our days, like 2013, 2012, whatever, like that was iTunes, like whatever. You had to like buy the album in order to even do it digitally, or rip it from a
Not
service
even
that was just like, that's not that long ago.
So that's what
that was an effort.
Right.
Now
And
you
so-
load up Spotify and you're like, love this one.
Right.
love
So
that
that's
one,
what I'm
love
saying
that
about,
one.
I do think we just need to be more willing to adapt our ratings and rankings to this day and age. Like, a classic album in 2018 isn't going to give you the feeling of a classic album in 2010.
No, I don't even think the definition is.
That's what I
you
mean.
can even use it
right.
anymore.
We have to adjust, because, like you said, one of your biggest criteria for ranking is like replay value.
Yeah.
Well, automatically, anything in 2018 isn't going to compare to anything from 2010 then, because replay value just was naturally higher then.
Yeah, and the nostalgia and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
And I think you have to be a certain level of artist to be able to hold your cards long enough to put your best stuff on an album. Either like we say, you can't be dormant for a year.
Yeah.
If you're going to be dormant for a year, well, then I hope Big Sean has the best Big Sean tracks ever on his 2019 project.
Right. Yeah,
because if he doesn't, it's going to be tough.
It will be a letdown to the internet.
I know.
That you have to be a certain level, and so that only makes classic albums available from select groups of people. Otherwise, it's like people will have their little classic albums. Like, I like this subgenre of hip hop. I like independent hip hop. This is my classic album of this. It's hard to coalesce around anything nowadays.
Well, and that's why I say, like, we have these groups of artists that we hold above others, like the Kendricks and the Coles and the Drakes and everything like that. But to me, it's how when you have a pool so big with the streaming stuff, do you keep up with those like huge names? Like, how do they transfer over time? It's so hard because there's so much to listen to. Mm-hmm. Like, those names came across in 2012, 2013, like around that era.
Still talking about the same people.
Talking about the same people. Like, when does it end? When do the new names come in?
Yeah.
Or can they even come in, because the landscape has changed so much that it doesn't even, there's too much room.
Yeah, I don't know.
I have JID stock, and when it's worth as much as Apple, you guys can all.
No, I mean, I would say,
when I'm on my yacht driving by you.
Who do we think are, like, because there? I think we talked about this. Did we talk about this with you? I think we talked about it on a previous podcast of
maybe, I don't know.
You had Jay-Z, Kanye, Lil Wayne, Eminem. Like, if you were to say a Mount Rushmore of a generation, and I'm just spitballing, so forgive me if I'm.
I mean, yeah, there's obviously.
And then you got Drake, Kendrick, J. Cole. And like I said, maybe like in the past, you maybe could have tried to throw Big Sean.
I think you could
on
even
there or
just make
something.
it Drake and Kendrick in terms of
combining
commercial success with hip hop approval rating.
Yeah.
So
it's almost like there are two.
Who are after Kendrick and Drake? Who's next?
I think that's even speaking to what we're trying to figure out is, why are there only two names?
As opposed to what there were before.
As opposed to what there were in generations.
And I do think
before.
a lot of that is internet. Like,
and barrier to entry is none anymore.
And it used to be so regional.
But that's
like,
my,
you had
that's my point.
Yeah, you used to be regional.
Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah, but now
there's
it's
too
just,
many names.
I wonder if it. Yeah, and
people are listening to too many different things.
Well, and you've brought up this line of thinking on the podcast before, and I thought that was so nihilistic. Like, of course, there's going to be another classic artist or classic album, but then when you really sit and think about it, it's like, well, will there be? I mean, there is no barrier to entry. There's so much music.
Because
what are people going to call us around?
If you think about it, when we sat down like 5 years, 6 years ago and tried to rank albums and things like that, we were all kind of listening to the same shit.
It would have been very
because
similar.
The barrier to entry was smaller.
Right.
When the barrier to entry is so big that you can literally pick and choose what you want to play, because we're all have the same platform now that we're all just choosing from. How are you supposed to agree on anything? How is there supposed to be a classic album anymore?
Yeah, I know. Well, that's where I say the only answer to me is, because artists are still making amazing shit. Like, that hasn't changed. So the only answer to me is we need to change our criteria a little
of what a classic album means.
And naturally understand that we're not going to live with it like we used to.
Well, and we're not going to agree the same way that we did used to, too. Like, there are certain albums when we can all talk about it and us all agree that something about that album is classic. Mm-hmm. 5 years down the road, I don't think that's even possible.
No, it's not. I don't think it is either. Maybe we'll be proven wrong.
Maybe. I don't know.
And I wouldn't doubt that there will be one or two that ever are just everybody agrees, but
I hope so.
I hope so, but
like, dude, what's the closest recent thing we've had that we can all agree on? Probably like Damn. We just had Apollo on the podcast that said he hates
I know.
Damn.
That was one of the worst takes I've ever heard on this podcast. I know he's around this building. I want to talk to I don't know how you could. And
I know.
And to me, before that, the last thing that really hit me from a new artist was probably Good Kid, Mad City.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's in 2012, where it's like, I mean, you knew of Kendrick, but it's like, this is an artist.
When you sit down and think about it, you're like, whoa, that was a while ago.
That was 2012.
Yeah, and I mean, I as an artist, I think this way, and it's hard to do. I'm trying to do it right now, but I think it is the way to go for artists, is to, and artists that are bigger than me have an advantage over me to do this, of find other ways to stay relevant while working on an album.
Yeah.
Put out a few singles, jump on other tracks, put out some video, do whatever.
Legal trouble.
Yeah,
legal trouble.
That's it.
Hit
Twitter
some
rants. Yeah.
Order a pizza when the driver comes to your door, just sock them.
Yeah. Like, do this
Take
random
that,
shit.
TMZ.
And then when you're ready to drop, put your album out. Because like Joel said when he was talking about his top 5, there is a certain aspect when you talk about a classic album, it has to resonate with the listener on like a lyrical level, on a content level, to me. And that's a reason I've been doing music for, 8-9 years, and I've only put out 2 albums. I put out a ton of music,
Right.
but I've only 2 because I felt like those points in time I was able to sit down and make a project that really gave a snapshot and insight into what was going on and who I am and what was going on in my life then.
Right.
And it's not that I don't like the other music. It's not that whatever. Like I said, my most played songs are probably not cuts that would make albums like that and stuff. Like there's hits that don't belong on albums like that.
Right.
But if you're going to make an album, a rap album, I think it should speak to the listener like that.
It's tough when you talk about classic though, because it's just like what we were saying before, not to beat a dead horse, but classic itself, like even if you take it outside of music, what does that mean? Like it means that it's judged on the masses to be bigger or the best.
It's like a first ballot Hall of Famer. Everyone agrees.
Right.
Everyone
goes in
agrees.
the Hall of Fame. That's
a
on the
good
top
comparison.
list.
Right. And so when
Steph
you're talking
Curry's
about
MVP season,
when you're talking about albums this day and age, and the fact that it's going to be tough for hip hop fans to agree going forward on things that are classic, how are you even supposed to have a classic album? Like you can't redefine classic.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point.
I'll just wait till that new Big Sean drops.
Yeah, apparently.
Classic.
Blow your world. I did want to mention one interesting note just on closing interesting notes about the year. I think Childish Gambino dropped the best music video of the year, the most talked about music video of the year, puts out 2 songs, and he's like, I got other stuff going on.
Yeah.
That's
That's
funny.
him. That's him, though.
Yeah. Just, I'll drop the most influential, talked about, controversial music video of the year, and put out a 2-track EP about the summer. I like warm weather. And then I'll go work on my TV show.
And that goes to what you said earlier, where there's a select few artists that can do those type of things. Like,
It's
I
crazy.
feel like popping up and doing this, and then I'm going to go do this,
Right.
and then I'm going to like fall off the map and whatever. Like, there's artists that can do that, and he's probably one of the best at it because he's so talented.
Yeah,
and can do so many different
Well, he
things.
doesn't disappear either. Like he's got his
As far
hands
as
in
the
other
culture,
things.
yeah.
We're in the curation and tastemaker age of, I would argue Travis Scott's greatest skill is just curation. I mean, and that's probably Kanye's greatest skill is like, this sounds good with you. This sounds good with me.
Yeah.
I know that's a talent in
Yeah.
hip hop
Yeah,
nowadays
it
that
is.
is probably definitely more important than the rapping fast thing. But going forward, I mean, you want to be a curator and understand when you're putting out projects and when you're putting out singles.
Yeah.
And it's a hard call to make. I think you got to make a lot of music before you can get to that point.
Oh yeah, that's
which is
a
always
tough
the
call.
biggest struggle. Everyone can have these plans for the year and everything like that, but to create the content to fit it is the tough part.
Right.
All right. Good shit, guys. I think that was a good wrap up.
Dope.
Dum.
Do we want to take voicemails or not?
Oh, did we get voicemails?
We did get voicemails.
If you got time, you want a quickie? I don't care. It's your
You
podcast.
I mean,
I'm not
I don't-
doing
I
anything.
don't really care either way.
I mean, for the fans that called in hearing this, they probably appreciate us taking a
Yeah,
few.
just
Oh, fuck them.
screw 'em. I'm hungry. No, I'm just kidding.
I actually do got a piss, though, so let's just take like 1 or 2.
Okay.
Well, you can leave. What if they're not to you? I'll
All right.
answer for you.
Yeah, if the first one's to Joel, I'm going to go take a piss.
How many are there?
There are 6.
You haven't listened to him yet?
No, I have not.
Let's go for it. Fuck it. Just maybe play a couple of them.
Hey, what's up, Packy and Moe-T?
That's right, Joel.
David calling from Wisconsin again. Just walking home. Walking back to my dorm. A little faded, listening to Delirious. Always hit me right in the fucking feels with that.
I don't know if we
on
should
the way
do the
back.
faded voicemail.
Getting some weird looks, but fuck them. But I was just wondering, Packy and Moe-T. Well, I think Moe-T uses fucking Apple. I think you use what's it called? Whatever. I don't think you use Spotify, but
Apple Music.
I know Packy does. So who'd you listen to the most this year? You were mine. I had 96 hours.
I didn't even.
So
I guess I was so busy
but I was just wondering who's your
seeing
most
the
listened to
fans
this
who
year.
they were listening to the
Thanks,
most.
guys. Keep up
You
the
can cut.
pod.
You got what?
Thanks for the question. I was so busy seeing what fans were listening to, and when I was like their most listened to artist, I didn't even look at mine on who was who I listened to the most. I don't even know where.
Travis
to
Scott, I think just because my repeat plays, I know was on my most listened.
At least you were consistent with your
Mm-hmm.
favorite album.
Yeah, I use Apple Music, so
Yeah,
I got to pee
music's
so
here.
bad.
Okay, go. Yeah, I'll answer for you.
All right. Well, I think actually this is for you.
Okay, good.
Hi, my name is Dylan. I'm from New Jersey. My question's for Joel. I just want to know what the benefit of having ice in your milk is.
Oh my
Thank
God.
you guys. Love
What is
everybody
that?
from the crew and the Spectators.
Well, people,
Collective.
I used to drink ice in my milk, and it would clink around when I was playing games with my friends. So they'd always be like, "What are you drinking?" And I'm like, "Ice." And they're like, "Why is there?" Or what are you drinking? I would say milk. Why is there a noise? Oh, because I have ice in my milk. And people, is that? And my friends would say that's abnormal and make fun of me. And
Yeah,
I don't
that is
even drink
abnormal.
milk anymore. Why is it abnormal? You
To
like
put
warm
ice
drinks?
in your milk?
Yeah. What's abnormal?
Why
about
is
it?
your milk warm?
Well, it gets warm pretty fast if you don't have ice in it.
How big of a glass are you pouring?
Well, back in the day, pretty big, because I used to drink a lot of it until I married someone
Like,
who's
are you
lactose
pouring a
intolerant, and I
giant
can go
glass
without
of-
it now. We're talking about the past anyway. I don't even drink milk anymore. I literally keep a quart or like a quarter gallon or whatever. Is that a quart? In my fridge
Yeah.
to put it on coffee sometimes. But yeah, well, yeah. And my big thing was always, oh, what are you sticking up for? You caping for warm drinks? Sick, dude. I love lukewarm milk. I love lukewarm Gatorade. Or
I mean,
whatever.
I don't think there's many people that put ice in their milk, though. Is there?
Why?
Because it's like watered down milk.
What? So what? What? Anything you put ice in is watered down. I've never understood that logic.
Ice water is not watered down.
Okay. I would agree that is the peanut butter to the jelly of ice is ice in ice water.
I don't know.
Maybe I should have made milk ice cubes.
There's
Would it have
just-
been weirder if I froze milk and
There's
then
things
put
that are
frozen milk in my
acceptable to
milk?
put your ice in. I don't know. What the fuck is going on here? Isn't there?
Okay, so there was a voicemail about how it was a thing on the internet. I would put ice in glasses of milk and drink milk while I was playing video games, and it would clink around, and my friends would be like, "What are you drinking?" I'm like, "Milk." They're like, "We hear ice." It's like, "Yeah, because I put ice in my milk," and they would make fun of me for it, and they thought it was abnormal. I never understood that. So you're gonna cape for lukewarm drinks? Like ice in milk is normal. It's normal to want drinks to be cold unless they're hot drinks.
Okay, I'll say I've
gonna
never
say
put
shit.
ice in milk.
Yeah.
There
But I
has to be
understand
a
your
reason.
logic.
Yeah,
because
thank you.
I'm big on a cold beverage.
I understand the logic. I get it.
What do you put?
And like, is water really gonna ruin the milk?
You put ice cubes in
I
your
guess-
Mike's Hards, Moe-T?
guess-
What
I
do
guess-
you water down your Mike's Hards
No,
with
I
ice
think
cubes?
I think it depends. Doesn't it depend on how long the ice cubes sit in there, though?
Well, what if I don't care if things are? I want things to be cold. I don't care if they're watered down. What is that? I don't understand the logic of that. Play the next voicemail. I fucking hate this topic anyway. I don't care. If people want to drink lukewarm things, that's fine. I live a more cultured life than them. I'm sorry. Live in the past.
well.
Live in the past when we got to use underground freezers because electricity isn't invented yet. Thanks, Thomas Edison.
This is taking a turn.
Thanks, Nikola Tesla.
Hi, this is Austin from Lansing, Michigan, and I was wondering what's the process behind going on tour? And I have another question. It's where do you find inspiration for your music? I hope I make it on the podcast.
Oh, you did.
Missed it.
Missed it. What's the process?
The process for going on tour. That's kind of a loaded question.
It's complicated.
It's complicated, but it's complicated to make happen. But it's not like it's some crazy process. Like, you gotta get in touch with different venues in different cities, whether that be through promoters or the venue itself. Normally through promoters, and find a time and date that works for you. But where it becomes a problem booking tours, especially when you have to do it yourself and shit, is actually lining these things up city to city where they have available dates, good dates at venues that actually are good for your route.
Right.
And
then
that's why
what it costs to get from those
you gotta
points.
book transportation, whether you gotta have a place to stay, whatever all those things may be. And there's always issues with venues and shit like that. But that's why booking agents exist, and that's literally their job.
Right. Okay.
Yo, what up, guys? It's Ryan from Malvern, Pennsylvania. My question was actually, what was your favorite sports moment between the three of you? Like, it could be college, could be professional. I mean, I know it's probably not going to be a Detroit Lions playoff win, but
Literally none of us have been
anyways, I
alive.
just wanted to say congrats to
We all
Moe-T and Joel on becoming fathers.
Hey,
I'm sure you guys
we didn't even mention that.
No.
Good luck. Thanks for everything that you've done.
We should open the podcast with that. You and I are going to be dads. We forgot to mention that. Hey,
Yeah, we
within
should
the same-
open the podcast. With that.
Yeah, that's kind of big news. Hey, so what do you think about this Offset, Dick? Hey, by the way, I'm going to be a father.
Yeah, hey,
So is Moe-T, by the way. If you don't follow him on
Congratulations
social.
to Moe-T and Joel.
It's like hour 2. Or
Gonna be
whatever.
Man, I'm really
fathers.
wondering if I'm too old to appreciate this rap shit. Oh, by the way, I'm having a kid.
Yeah, by the way, I have children.
Go
now.
ahead and cut this, put it at the beginning of the podcast, and we'll go right into Cardi B.
Big
but,
news of the day.
Yeah, both. Well, I won't say that, but what next spring, summer?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
late spring or early summer.
Joel,
for
a little
me.
before you.
Early
Definitely
summer for
for
me.
you. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
That's big.
my kid's gonna kick your kid's ass in sports.
Wow.
Yeah,
I don't
apparently
know.
Joel's
we don't know the
kid's
gender.
already huge.
Mine's a daughter, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what mine is, and we're not finding out until it introduces itself.
Surprise. Well, was there any? Wait, what
That's
else was
crazy
that
shit.
question? We forgot because what was the question?
Oh yeah, what was the question?
It was
Because he was like, by the way, congrats, and we're just focused on that.
I know,
Oh,
your-
hey,
your
thanks, bro.
your favorite sports
Oh, I
moment.
know. I know my modern favorite sports moment was the MSU versus Michigan State game. He fumbled the snap and the ball is
Oh,
free. Jalen Watts
yeah,
Jackson.
that's pretty tough to beat.
Because I watched it. I was at a weird spot for watching a game. I was at my brother and sister-in-law's house, and it was like so morbid the whole game because they're losing literally the entire game. This play happens when there's 0 seconds left on the clock, and it's in Ann Arbor, so the Michigan fans are celebrating.
Yep.
This play happens. I jumped so high. I mean, I'm tall, but my head hit the ceiling. And I
So he
think
jumped this high.
Yeah, I jumped about 3 inches. My head hits the ceiling. Definitely give myself a concussion that I feel later, but in the moment I don't even care. I actually started crying because I was so happy. That rarely happens to me, but I was like, yes! Oh, this is it was the most euphoric feeling. Kind of it was just a regular season game too. Kind of speaks on the sad state of our sports existence.
But both teams were like highly ranked at that point. Like that was a
It was an
huge
important
game.
game.
That
Yeah.
wasn't just a rivalry.
A lot of
game.
context
Yeah.
around it.
I was at Dag's, and I think I just literally sprinted out of the crib onto the street, just like, and then I, because no one was like following me, and
I was alone.
yeah, and then all of a sudden I come back in and I'm like, there wasn't a fucking like penalty or something, was there?
People are just
That's what was worrying me.
And you could hear it around because we were in the Lansing area. The houses around were literally, people were screaming around the neighborhood. It was insane.
I'd love to give a different answer, but that's probably it. If I were to take it back further, the men's basketball championship in 2000.
But we were so young.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, we were so
young.
young.
Yeah.
You got to have that pain of sports kind of
Right.
built up
Right.
to really feel the
Right.
joy.
Right. I think if we won one now, a hoop championship,
Oh,
that
yeah.
would probably take over. But
Like
I was
in
at a
2015.
tailgate right by the big house.
for
that.
that moment. Oh,
that's
Like
crazy.
literally, we could see
God,
it.
that would have been the best feeling to be
and-
in Ann Arbor. For
And I was
that.
surrounded around Michigan fans because all of my friends were at the game,
can't
and I
watch
didn't get
those games
tickets.
with
So me
Michigan
and Aaron
fans.
are just sitting there with tons of Michigan fans, and that play happens, and I'm literally looking at her like, one, super afraid that there was a penalty, and two, I'm like, when is the correct time for me to go insane right now? Because
Yeah.
I'm literally surrounded around.
That's why I
people
can't
that want to kill
I
themselves.
segregate from when I'm watching those
Michigan
rivalry
fans.
games. I do not want a Michigan fan
Yeah.
within 20 feet of me. If
Yeah.
if we're in the audience or the crowd or whatever, it's one thing.
It was
but
fun afterwards because I got to give them lots of shit
Oh,
after
yeah.
that. So
I almost had it.
yeah,
Yeah, that was nuts.
good time, good time.
We got a couple more.
Yeah,
One
a couple
two?
more.
Okay.
Hey guys, this is Grant from Bedford, Texas. I was just wondering, what is each of y'all's favorite song that y'all have made and produced? It's just been wondering. Love the pod. Keep it up, guys.
At all. Pick one. I really like that Finding My Balance you just put out, by
Thank
the way.
you,
I
bro.
hope that gets in the
Thank you.
million streams
Thank
club.
you. I'll probably say for myself, Delirious, but that's tough. That's tough.
That's also my number one Packy favorite.
Nice
I always go to campaign.
campaign. Yeah, that's a good one. That's tough for me.
It has
choose
to
a
have the
favorite song.
context of something behind it too.
Yeah,
It's hard to
right.
manufacture that, and some things don't. Like some big tracks don't. Like
Yeah.
was Rockstar have behind it, but especially the campaign in that time and when you put it out and what you meant behind it,
Yeah.
and like the story behind Delirious and stuff, and you can really connect to it beyond that surface level. Is
Yeah.
really good.
Agreed.
Last one.
Yo, what's up, spectators? What's up, Joel? It's your boy, Ronnie.
It's good, Ronnie.
I just want to drop a question for the podcast. Who is the overall most entertaining rapper right now, and why is that Kanye West? What's up, guys? Have a good day. Nobody hype.
I know this guy. He's from Houston. I've hung out with him in Michigan before. We went to a thing in Detroit together, so he's funny.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not into the fuck shit of rap as much, so that's like
there's like a whole different level of rap. If you had to rank rappers by their TMZ hits, it would be a whole different group
and there's a whole group of rappers that are like in that shit. I mean, I guess for me, one that I actually do kind of pay attention to that's entertaining that hasn't been as much over the last whatever months is Russ.
I do find Russ's stuff pretty entertaining.
Yeah, he's entertaining.
And then I've read a lot about I've listened to more hours of interviews and things talked about Tekashi 6ix9ine than actually Tekashi 6ix9ine, and that's not entertaining in a. Some of the stuff is entertaining in a sad way,
right?
Because even the Kanye stuff is kind of sad to me. Like, I mean, he is, he seems to have a good life. He's married and he's a multi-millionaire, but there's a level of sadness to all of this when with purple emojis are phasing me.
The Kanye shit isn't even entertaining at all to me.
Not anymore.
Yeah, like
that's my.
It doesn't
feeling.
even move the needle to me. Yeah,
it doesn't. Doesn't really do anything.
Well, whenever he brings up the purple emojis, I do chuckle. You got to look at the timeline to see is he sending me purple emojis?
If you single out some of those tweets that I saw, just read them out of context on their own, they're pretty fucking funny.
They are funny. Yeah. All right,
wrap it.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
I'm undefeated, never lost.
All right, let's get out of here. I need to take my turn to use the bathroom.
You gotta be my girl when you can have anything.
Oh, Spec 16. Available on all streaming platforms.
Full of space, stupid ass, in more ways
so stream away.
Hey,
big news. Run, none say to stay. I say they try to take her if I went away, so I stay and play the game till the day it don't pay. Yo, she's oh so dumb. Why the hell do I gotta be oh so sprung? I'm a weak man, I know it. Give me some time, I swear I'll break up. Soon as I wake up, soon as she stops wearing makeup, soon as I find a wife and I get caked up, soon as Snoop Dogg don't bake up, soon as Young Money give Drake up, that's when I'll break up. Damn, I got this shit bad. If I play her this song, she won't even get mad. What do? I tell you one thing, she won't meet my Duke, so